Homestead here, coming to you live tonight on this Sunday evening. Just tried to go live, and I was trying to do it on a horizontal rather than a vertical. But well, because I'm possibly gonna have John joining on with me, and for some reason I just can't figure out how to do it. That's why we need Greg. So Greg is, if y'all were expecting another episode of the Homestead from scratch and the three of us talking, that's not gonna happen tonight. Greg is up in Tennessee at the Self Reliance Festival. He's coming back late from that, so he won't be able to join us, but John is probably going to jump on here in a few minutes, as long as I did everything right with the invite link and have it set up to where he can join with us. So tonight we're not going to be focused on the same subjects that we've been talking about. I think that next week we'll more than likely be talking about parallel economies. But I figured I'd take the opportunity, since I haven't been dropping as many videos here lately, just real sporadically, some of the 3 times a week, once a week. That'd give y'all some updates about stuff going on the homestead, and just things going on in life in general, and a few announcements, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, we're looking at coming into fall here, so we've got a lot of stuff that we've got to do. Work has been crazy. I'm sure, as everybody knows, the economy is not as good as it could be, and a lot of work, a lot of trying to figure stuff out. And so, yeah, I've been really, really busy with that, trying to get back to making time for videos. And yeah, things have just been super busy. Coming into fall, as far as updates of things that we've got going on, we have a lot of animal processing that's going to be coming up. I'm probably going to wait until later in the winter to do the pigs. Going to do a couple of them. But here, coming into fall, either this month or next month, hopefully, I'm going to be processing some ducks, and we've got to reduce our load on that. Been looking at things and goals that we're going to have for next year coming into the next spring, because even though we're still in fall, as everybody who knows that's keeping any kind of livestock, plants gardens, has a homestead, has a farm, et cetera, that spring will be here before we know it. And so the time to start preparing for spring is now, in the fall. Um, I have been debating internally, just whether or not I'm going to continue with rabbits. I know that it's one of the big things on my channel, and I get a lot of views and stuff. But I've been debating, as far as with the animals that I'm keeping. Um, oh, we got some people in the chat here. I don't know if I recognize any of these. So many people are coming. Huh? That's all right. Well, hey everybody. Nice to see you. I don't know if these are subscribers to the channels or not, but yeah, let's all. If you're here for the first time, you haven't watched any of my videos, please let's be respectful and keep everything friendly in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming by. Um, this is the weirdest. I have never had this many people in a live. This is really weird. Welcome. I'm glad to have people here, but it's let's hear sub because I'm a sub because you said, well, thank you. So because I see you said, wow, this is yeah, this chat is a little insane. Please shut. Oh my god. Uh, I don't even know what that means. But anyway, well, the chat is booming tonight. That's it. Uh, yeah, yeah, asking. Yeah, well, So anyway, I don't even know how many people. Oh, we got 58 watching. Oh well, thanks for the 9 likes. Well, for everyone that's new here, the channel that I have is all about homesteading, and so if you're interested in that, and you've got any questions or anything, go ahead and shoot those. I'll try to keep up, but with 62 people in the live chat, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up or not. I'm normally used to about 5 people in the live chat. So appreciate the likes. Hey, yeah, I mean, if you're on this video and you're in the chat, um, let's hear this. Ashraf is asking for a shout out. I'll just shout you out. You said please. All right. Um, anyway, yeah, leave a like if you're on the live feed. That'll really help my videos. So, I'll just drop down to 49. Maybe some people realize this wasn't what they wanted to see. But anyway, yeah, we're looking at possibly doing a different direction with the rabbits. Maybe cutting back on them. Maybe doing something else. Uh, oh, thank you, Matthew. Uh, Matthew says that beard is wonderful. Yep, it's hopefully going to keep me warm this winter. Say rabbit. Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi, yo, nice beard. Well, thanks, guys. I mean, I don't recognize any of y'all, but hey, subscribe to the channel. Oh, I like homesteading. Never got a shout out. Nice. Yeah. Ashraf, I shouted you out. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned you. I think that's what you're asking for a shout out. But anyway, that's pretty much uh our updates. Is we're getting ready to process some animals. We've got possibly some changes. We're looking at possibly doing some paddock shift with the ducks, which just means we're going to be rotating them in different pastures where I'm going to build ponds for them. And we've got some stuff coming up with the sheep and the pigs. Going to be trying to breed them in the spring, so we're going to have a lot of stuff going on here coming into the spring. So be looking forward to some more videos this winter. I'm probably going to have a bunch just because we're going to have so many things to do to get ready for spring and summer. I feel like there'll be a lot of content that will be um, that'll be coming up. Well, I'm just going to turn this into Q&A right now because let's see, we got how much more work is ducks than chickens? All right. Um, as far as work, really and truly, it's about the same. The difference between the chickens and ducks is that chickens, they don't have the same water needs that ducks do. So with ducks, they're really nasty when it comes to water, especially if you're going to keep anything that's like a mallard descent duck, which just means stuff like Pekings, Rowans, um, Harlequins, Indian runner ducks. All those ducks come from mallards, and they need water sufficient to clean out their sinus cavities. And so they need to be able to put their head in water. And so you need something that's large enough for them to do that, deep enough for them to stick their bill and their whole head in. Preferably, if you can have an area for them to swim, that's better. But as long as you've got something to where they can clean out those signs, because they're filter feeders, they've got little teeth almost like a whale does. The whale has baleen, but they've got these little bitty teeth that they use to filter feed and eat all kinds of small stuff in the water. And that stuff gets clogged, so they need to clean it out. But yeah, other than that, really, they just need shelter if they're babies. If they're grown adult ducks, they'll survive a rainstorm without any shelter. But I prefer to give them some kind of shelter, and then you need just basically feeder, water. They're just going to be a little bit messier. So as far as the work goes, it's not that much um, more work. And let's see, we got what does homestead mean? So homesteading historically was just people going out and eking out a living on the land. They of course did it in communities, the whole thing of little house on the prairie, going out and doing it by yourself. That's only part of the story. They did it in areas where they had neighbors that were far off, but they were able to collaborate with. And it's just setting up a piece of land that you can live off of, basically, is my definition of it. So, growing a garden, keeping some animals, producing stuff off the land, almost kind of like, farming in a sense. But um, making a sustainable lifestyle and production on your property. Really, let's see here. Let's see here. Call my house homestead. Hey, you can homestead on a very very small area. Let's see here. Roblox. Do ducks eat anything? Yes, they do. They eat a lot. And if you keep them up and keep them on just, feed for uh, like chickens, out of a bag, they're going to eat a lot more than chickens now, but they're really good at free ranging. Excellent for keeping slugs out of the garden, especially if you have raised beds. So all your garden beds are raised up. They'll go through and eat a ton of slugs. Can you make a sourdough starter? I cannot. Don't know much about sourdough starters. Except, okay, a lot of kids in here. Oh, here we go. There's old John boy. Hey, John.
What's going on, man? I'm on the phone, so I wasn't able to get it for the desktop. So
That's fine. I couldn't figure out how to get it turned horizontally. You just missed it. I had 64 people in the chat.
well, okay. Obviously, party's over already, but it's all right.
I know. Yeah, now we're down to two.
So what were you talking about?
Well, I was given some updates on my homestead and everything, and I guess because I'm doing the live in vertical and people go through shorts, I
Uh-huh.
think a bunch of people discovered my video at at the same time, and um, I noticed there was just like a couple on there, and then all of a sudden, like all this chat just started coming in, and I
Yeah.
said, "What's going on?" There's like 64 people. I don't recognize hardly any of them as subscribers, and but I told everybody that was on there, I was like, "Hey, if you're new and everything, helps out, leave a like and subscribe." So I got 18 likes before it dropped.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
I had some. I've never had a chat that big, so I was giving the updates, and then I got completely derailed, and had some questions in the chat, so I got to answer some questions about some ducks and homesteading and stuff.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's been mainly the chat here in just the first bit. So
Yeah.
have one more question here. It says, so I've been thinking about ducks. Let's hear it's from Elias. It says, so I've been thinking about ducks. I have 10 chickens and find it manageable, but can only access chicken feed. Is it enough for ducks? Okay, there is a certain mineral that ducks need, and every time I try to think of it, I always forget what the name of the mineral is. And it comes in a lot of like game bird starters.
Uh-huh.
If you look at Tucker Milling, that's the feed I use. The bags that have like chick starter, it'll say it has that thing for the ducks. And I don't know why I'm drawing such a blank on it, but it is a specific things that ducks need, especially for when they're growing. But yeah, if you can just make sure that chicken feed, and you can research it, on the internet real easy, just like, what can chickens eat, or excuse me, can ducks eat chicken feed? And it's John, I think John's on it. So it's a specific thing that they need, especially when they're growing.
Uh-huh.
It's a. Did you find it?
I don't know about specifically about whether it's chickens or ducks, but it does list some important ones: calcium, phosphorus,
Yeah.
manganese, zinc, and selenium.
Yeah, this one is it's a specific, like, you don't ever hear this name uh hardly, it's
Got
when you're reading feeds. But yeah, at Tucker Milling, I know that their chick feed has it, and it's a non-GMO, and that's what I use, and I'm able to give it to my ducks and chickens.
right,
So yeah,
right.
if Elias, you wanted to keep chickens and ducks together, you could definitely just make sure that the layer pellets that you have are sufficient for them, or if not. Um, you can always just mix in a little bit of some of that chick starter or game bird starter to make sure that they get everything that they're needing. And yeah, it'd be completely fine. Chickens and ducks are really awesome to keep together because chickens really help keep bedding turned over, and ducks are
Yeah,
really bad because they've got these flat feet. They just go around and just make these awful mats of just poo and goo. So
I know that because, as you know, I just recently redid my pond a couple weeks ago, and this dry weather we've been having, it's still empty. So my ducks have two little kiddie pools that they amazing, amazing how dirty they can make that water.
yep,
It's
yep,
like a day or two, and there's like an inch of dirt in the bottom of this small kiddie pool, and I'm like, where how did you get all that dirt in there? I mean, they're just I mean, they're fine. I mean, I don't mind it, but
yeah,
they really they I don't know what they do, but they get
yep,
dirt everything in their
yep.
waters, so.
There it is. It's niacin. I don't. I wanted
Ah,
to say it started with an M, but it's not. It's niacin. Yes,
okay.
niacin is what the ducks need. Um, it's as long as the feed has that, you're good.
Yeah.
You'll have issues if it doesn't, but or maybe not if they're free range and they're getting it from somewhere else.
Right. If
Yeah.
they're in a pond, they'll probably get it somewhere. They know where to get
Yep.
it. That's kind of like cows. It's like if as long as you've got weeds and all sorts of grasses, they'll figure out what they need nutrition wise. Now you do have to supplement with minerals and stuff like that, but that's and I was thinking about that today, not to change the subject off of ducks, but I just throw my 2 cents in here about cows since that's not the only thing I know about. But I was thinking, it's like there's always these suggested mineral supplements for cows. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm wondering if all of that research was done with non free range, non grass finished cows. That those minerals are not found when they're feeding them the corn or whatever they feed them, and that it's kind of like I was saying about gardens. It's like, well, you can throw all sorts of chemicals and minerals and whatever on your garden, but unless you know what you actually need, you're just kind of maybe throwing away money, you know?
Hmm.
I still give minerals to my cows. The only reason I say that is I have a mix of Redmond, which makes pink Himalayan salt, but they also make a cattle grade mineral along with kelp that I put out there, which has everything that they possibly could need in high values. And it's like they go in cycles where they're like, wow, they polished that off. And then they'll go like a week, 2 weeks, and
Hmm.
they'll eat some, but not a lot. So it's like as you're moving them to different parts of the pasture, they're picking up what they need, maybe in your part of your pasture that doesn't have that mineral, or the forage doesn't have that mineral. So they're, I'm hoping, at least theoretically, that they're self-regulating their mineral.
Hmm.
That's why at times they don't eat minerals and other times they do, whether it's hot, whether it's cold. I haven't figured it out, but interesting. But ducks the same way. I think if they're
Oh, then we lost you, John. Or did we lose me? Can everybody hear me? Let's see here. We got, look at the chat here. Well, I'm happy to hear they work well together. All right, let's see here. Forum. What has legs, no head, no heart, no lungs, and is an animal? I don't know. Good question. Answer my riddle. Okay, I think we lost John. Everybody else, I think, hears me. Oh, yep, lost John. Uh, yeah. So what is the answer to that riddle? What has legs, no head, no heart, no lungs, and is an animal? It's a cooked chicken. Yeah. Why are 90-year-olds online? I don't know if you're referring to me or John or somebody in the chat, but um, I feel like you don't have any idea of what a 9-year-old looks like. Mm, yep. But yeah, we lost John. Maybe he'll be able to join back on. Um, so yeah, but going off what John was saying there about the minerals and everything, I think that giving your animals feed to improve the land is way better than buying minerals because John has talked about on here before about doing soil test and seeing what it is that you need if you're going to amend the soils, and I totally agree with him. But really and truly, the reason you want to grow stuff on the land is, or well, the reason you want to improve the land is to grow stuff on it or to raise animals on it. And so if you can put that stuff, that feed that has all those minerals, or give minerals to your cows so that way they can cycle those nutrients back in, that's about the cheapest way you can do it because you're getting a twofer. You're feeding your animals and you're improving the land. So um I guess we'll go back to the chat. Let's see here. Let's see here. Do you have any idea what a 2-month old lizard looks like? I do. I actually had a pet chameleon that was a baby. I think it was like just a few weeks old, and I remember what it was like when it was 2 months old. So yeah, I do. Let's hear. Elias says, for kids, anyone looks super old, even a 15-year-old. Yeah, that's true. Looks like an adult to a kid. Big back, big back. Yes, my back is laden with snacks and different foods. Uh, yep. Well, yeah. So let's hear. What would you do if a 1-year-old kid? What would you do if 1-year-old kid jumped on your bed? Well, I've got two toddlers, so that's happened before. Um, and you just do nothing. If you're trying to sleep, you tell them stop. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully John will join back with us. But if not, we'll just continue with the updates on the homestead and talking about just regular homesteading questions. One thing that I wanted to mention on tonight's live, if you're a part of the homesteading community, or if you're a subscriber, or if you're just joining in tonight, I'm sure that everyone is aware that North Carolina and parts of Tennessee and other surrounding areas have been affected by uh, the hurricane and have had like a lot of damage, lots of roads washed away from floods, lots of power outages, and they're in need of a lot of assistance. Um, Somebody from our community, subscribers to the channel, um, Stephanie and Alyssa from Nevermore Farms were affected uh, by the storm, and they do chickens, pigs, rabbits, and a lot of other stuff. And they've even got some creams and stuff that they sell that are made from comfrey and other natural herbs and medicines. So if you could check them out on Facebook, Nevermore Farms, they have been able to get a good bit of assistance and are doing better. They just got their power back on, which was incredible because they were originally estimated to have it off for 2 months. But they could use all the help that they could get. They're really hardworking gals and doing a lot of awesome stuff. You can check all of their pictures on Facebook. Again, that's Nevermore Farms. And if you could go and check them out, if there's any way that you could assist, that would be great. You know, maybe buy something from them too. Um, I know that they could really use the help. People up in that area are just devastated. People's lost homes. People are not able to work right now. You know, they have power outages. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So if you could in any way help them, that would be greatly appreciated. We want to uh, try to, you know, help our neighbor when we can. And I know that everybody that's subscribed to this channel or has any interest in homesteading knows how important it is to have community and to help one another when someone's in need. So yeah, if you could go check out their Facebook page and see if there's anything that you could do, I know that they would greatly appreciate it, and I would too. So wanted to mention that. I was going to get started with that, but then the chat got so lit there at first that I was a little lost. Um, let's see here. Back to the chat here. Let's see here. We got a bunch of stuff about jumping on the bed. Search up the Big Back song. Don't know what's here. What about on your back? Yes, I will be back in a sec. Oh, okay. Oh, there's John. He says he'll be back in a sec. Awesome. Um, this hold up. Have you ever saw 500 cow? Oh, he said his phone died. I just saw it in the chat. Missed that. Okay. Says, hold up. Have you ever saw 5,000 cows chasing you in a dream? No, I have not, but boy, that would be scary. It says, do you want to hear my riddle? Sure, why not? Jesus Christ saves. Yes, he does. Let's see here, David Hook. You are right. Yes. Let's hear. Ain't no way they'll sell cream. Big bad. Okay, that's just some lyrics, looks like. I'm back. All right. Well, anyway, so yeah, appreciate people being in the chat tonight. That's something that normally doesn't happen. I was ready to just talk for uh, an hour straight with John, so that's nice. Yeah, any questions that you have, and if you're new, go and check out my videos. I have probably close to 500. I know it's over four, and it's all about trees, uh, rabbits, ducks, pigs, sheep, some pond stuff. John was just mentioning his pond. He had some work done on it, and I'm going to have a bunch of content coming out about ponds, especially this coming up year. Ponds are super essential, or just really any kind of body of water that you can put on a homestead, or even if it's just your home, you know, stuff like water gardens, rain collection cisterns, larger ponds, you know, swales, stuff that'll just hold water are always needed on the homestead. So yeah, go be looking forward to that. Like I said, I've already got tons of stuff like that on the channel, and just haven't been putting up videos as much as I used to. I used to do a video every day, and I did that for almost a year. And I need to recycle a lot of the content that I've already put on there, because a lot of those videos people are not going to scroll all the way back to look at. and there's a lot of good information on certain plants and stuff that you can grow to feed the animals. And so I need to go back and rehash some of those. If you go and watch any videos, let's see here. Eli said, I live on a homestead, so too, so I will go check all out your videos. Thank you. Yeah, go check them out. If you see any of them that you like, leave a comment. And I always take suggestions for video content, whether somebody's wanting to update on something or want me to talk about a specific subject. As long as I'm knowledgeable about it, I'll give what knowledge I have. I don't keep every type of homestead animal, and I don't, do a whole lot of gardening. So if there's anything that I can, you know, speak on and actually be halfway knowledgeable about, I'll make videos about it. Some of the stuff I just skip because I really don't have any knowledge. Like I really can't speak on cows at all. I do know some stuff from books and from other homesteaders, but that's one of the reasons I've started collabing with John on Sunday nights is and with Greg, is because they have different knowledge sets. And John's, of course, is cattle. So talking about cattle is a really good one, which I think is a really good option for homesteaders. A lot of people would think that you need just tons and tons of land to have cattle, but really you don't. I know on one of our past live streams, I was talking with Greg and John about keeping cattle on small acreage. Oh, let me add John back. He's coming back just in time here. Oh yeah, came back just in time. I was just talking about you.
Well, I have I know you're an Android guy, and my iPhone died, and it just takes a little while to charge back up before it'll boot.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got it on the charger, so I'll just hold it in my hand for right now. But anyway, it's all good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been listening. I actually was following you on YouTube while my phone was charging. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I'm the cattle person. It's my passion, or it has been, and it will be for the future. So any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer. I do some gardening as well. As a matter of fact, today, well, what have I done? I I laid down my compost for my garden, my garlic bed. And for
Hmm.
those that don't know, garlic is planted in the fall, sits in the ground all winter. It comes up in the spring, and then you harvest it in the summer. So now's the time where you prepare your garlic bed. So I'm doing that, and since it's really close to my chicken coop, and they free range, I got to build a fence around it. So that's
Yeah.
that's 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 tomorrow, because they just love digging, and because it's just dirt right now, and they just go in there, and I covered it up with hay for a little while after I tilled it, and just to keep the weeds down. But they just sling that stuff everywhere. They
Yeah.
love. That's one of my favorite thing about that really got me hooked on edible acres
Oh
is
yeah.
is his chickens, and his whole chicken process that he does. That's amazing. He composts and chickens. His chickens do all the work.
He always like when I first started watching his channel, I just loved everything about because mainly he's all about plants, and I love the chicken stuff too. Um, but one of the things that was really funny was when I started watching his channel, I was like, this guy looks so familiar. He looks so familiar, and I couldn't place it. And then just all of a sudden, it hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, he looks just like Jordan Peterson, but a hippie.
The hippie version. There you
Yeah,
go.
he's the hippie version, Jordan Peterson. I was like, I didn't think Jordan Peterson could be improved on, but apparently he can. And so
Interesting.
when I figured that out, I was like, it made me like him even more. But yeah, that channel is awesome. All the stuff they do with chickens. But yeah, um, yeah, no, I tell you, John, the chat is many people that was in there at first. Like it's slowed down, but it threw me off hardcore because I'm not used to that. I'm used to just doing this and then ending or being
Right.
on here with you and Greg.
Right.
But we have people all the way from Norway. We got Elias. He says families in the old days here in Norway where I live used to survive off of one cow, fishing and gardening.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so
Probably, obviously for milk, because
oh yeah.
one cow, you can't get two cows unless you have two cows. So
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
cow,
They
but
I know you're into the tree stuff and you've read the books Trees of Power. There's another book and you really need to check out called Sprout Lands,
huh?
and it's all about coppice and pollarding.
I need,
And
yeah, I need to really start learning that because I'm going to do that with my mulberries. I'm going
yeah.
to do, with my poplars, and anything else I probably grow. The only other things I have out in my pasture, black locust, and
Yeah.
those are great for lumber more than anything
Hmm.
else.
Oh,
And
excellent firewood too, the smaller stalk.
yeah, yeah,
Um, just burns so hot.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, the Sproutlands, you would love that book. It's got a lot of history in it too, history from all over the world about pollarding. And one of the countries that it mentions is up like in Norway, Sweden,
Right.
up on the fjords, and they had like farms, right? So like say you had like a hillside, right?
Hmm.
Down here at the and this is about an accurate representation because they're extremely steep. You
Hmm.
would have like down here during the winter, it's extremely cold.
Right.
Like you wouldn't think, but all that cold air settles and stuff. And so they would like have this whole thing where they would move with the seasons up and down the fjords, and they coppiced and pollarded and moved their cattle and stuff. It's very interesting. Gives you a whole lot of perspective too on the types of trees that have been used around the world for fodder for animals.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's an excellent book. You would love it. Yeah, anybody in the chat that's interested in growing trees to feed animals or to do lumber or anything like that, that book Sproutlands by William Bryant Logan is an extremely excellent read.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now. So
Yeah, put
uh,
it put it on the wish list.
go. There you go. Do you know that? I wonder if they have an audio book.
They do. It's good too.
Although they probably got good pictures in this book, I would think maybe. Do they have?
Well, now if you buy it on Audible, I
Uh-huh.
got I'm pretty sure it came with a PDF link to be able to look at all the images.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, why doesn't every book do this? Like, they should all have the attached PDF file to be able to at least look at the images.
Yeah, I think that's just, the publishing world is still, pretty
Yeah,
analog.
yeah,
Still stuck in the analog world. It's like you need to be able to write and use a typewriter and all the other crap. But yeah, well, that's cool. Well, I'll probably pick this up then. So just basically for the people in the chat and for me as well, is my understanding is that coppicing and pollarding are kind of the same way,
hmm,
but coppicing, you're taking it pretty much down to the ground level, whereas pollarding, you have a main trunk and then you trim off all of
hmm,
the new limbs that you grew that year and feed it to the animals. And then so you basically have a stalk that never really grows any higher. It's just you're just making it sprout out around there and then cutting those fresh sprouts off and feeding them to the. Am I correct in that?
yeah. And the technical terms like coppice is cutting off anywhere about a foot to right flush with the ground
Uh-huh.
normally. And most of your pollards are anywhere from 3 foot to 6 foot to 8 foot. And sometimes you'll take like if you're familiar with the Harry Potter series, the Whomping Willow. that was a pollarded tree. So they just took like it had several branches, but it had all these what they call fists on there where they
Right.
took the small branches off of. But the
Gotcha.
actual like technical terms of it is coppice is cut to where the animals can graze it. Pollard is above browse height. So so a pollard can be um, defined by the animal that you're keeping. So if you're keeping, say, something like sheep that don't stand on their back legs, a pollard might be, 5 foot. If you're keeping goats that'll climb on each other's backs, you might have pollards at 8 foot. If you're
Yeah.
keeping guinea pigs and you're running them through a field, it might only be 2 foot. So it's above the browse height of the animal.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
yeah, no, we've got a few comments here again from Elias about Norway and the cow. Yeah, he said that they would get milk cows from bigger cow farmers on their homesteads. They just buy a milk cow from a bigger farm. Let's see here. He says, my neighbor is a cow farmer and their family's been doing it for 300 years. He is a
Wow.
knowledgeable guy. Yes. Like if you're if you're interested in doing cows and you have somebody like that lives close to you, like you need to
Yeah.
go and work for them for free for a year. Just you don't have to turn it into your, 9 to 5, but go over there as often as you can and be like, "Hey, can I help you with anything?" Because
Right.
wow, what a blessing that would be to be able to learn from someone like that.
Right. And and I guess Elias is from Norway, I think you said.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So hopefully, they are still using many of the same techniques
yeah.
because frankly, cattle, in the United States, as with all agriculture, has become so industrialized. There's very few of those people left.
Hmm.
Actually, actually, almost none. A lot of the ones that are really good at it, whether it's Greg Judy or Gabe Brown or even Joel Salatin, it's like they started out in a different place than where they ended up. The experts in the field were industrial farmers at one time and learned these techniques and brought them back. There's very few. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody, at least that has any social media presence, that has been doing it the way
Hmm.
not their grandfather or even their great grandfather did, but their great great grandfather did, and didn't really, they may have modernized with a little bit of technology, but they didn't go, okay, we're just going to go to feedlots and just completely change the way we do things. Because I mean, and then Elias can speak to that, but I mean, they're not subsistence farmers, but they're very much attached to the land because, if you still own the same land you did for 300 years, you're doing something right.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
where here in the United States, number one, haven't been here that long. Number two, farms just, family farms are all going out of business and they're switching hands and they're becoming corporate and um, I really hate to see that, and
yeah,
that's why I do what I do, right? To kind of hold on to a little bit of that, because frankly, I started without any experience at all. I mean, yeah, I was born on a farm in Illinois, but my dad was in the military and I left when I was 18 months old. So I have no memory of that. And it was all conventional. So
yeah,
I had to just, out of passion and wanting to do the right thing, learn how to do this. And there's not any other way. You're not going to learn it in school. They
hmm
don't teach this in college. So it's people that really care and want to do the right thing that are doing it, and thankfully things are starting to change a little bit. It's a long way to
yeah.
go, but
I think that it seems like a lot of places outside of the U.S. have a lot less regulation. The lobbyists are not as powerful in other places, I guess, as far as with the farming. sector, because here, it's all about that bigger, better, faster, fatter, just crank it out and get it done. And the government constantly wants to have control over what's happening, and places, other places in the world where that culture has really been kept alive with farming. It seems like there's a lot of stability in keeping things kind of the way that they're supposed to be done. I know that right here, let's see here, Elias said they also used to burn down forests to create rich pastures. Need to check out our discussions on building soil. We've talked a lot about biochar. That's an excellent technique. And Elias says he's going to work for the guy that's been doing it for 300 years. He said he, planned to that. He said he just quit his factory job. Well, all I've got to say is congratulations. I love to hear it when somebody is quitting what, they not really meant to do and go and do something they're really passionate about. He also says he only has 36 milk cows and lives off of it. They are grass fed and it's natural. He says he definitely drinks that milk raw. And see, that's something here too. I mean, like, you think about somebody who owns a conventional dairy here in the US trying to do it on 36 cows, they're never going to be able to. It's not
Right. Right.
financially viable. And
Well,
two,
number
considering they want
one,
to make raw milk illegal here. Yep.
so you can charge a lot for that and make money because people
Hmm.
want it, but it's against the law.
Well,
So
it,
it's
and,
it's ridiculous.
I see like something like raw milk. I think if you took away all the regulation on it, it would be the same price as whole milk at the
Right.
grocery store. Because once you take away the
I got a
regulation,
dog that's bothering me and keeps whining, so I got to put her in my lap. So
what kind of dog is she?
Chihuahua.
I want to say I thought it was kind of a big Chihuahua though, right? Like a standard Chihuahua breed.
Yeah, she's a trailer park Chihuahua.
Trailer park, yeah, it's a good Chihuahuas right there.
We got her down in Huntsville in a trailer park. Yeah, litter of pups, and we got one of them. So
Oh man,
yeah, she's a handful. I got big dogs, and I got another Boston Terrier, Frenchie mix, and she just goes head to head with everybody. She don't care. She don't know she's small. You
yeah,
know.
and dogs definitely don't. We actually just had we've got the one dog, Skoda, the livestock guardian dog.
Uh huh.
We had two pit bulls come into the yard today.
Oh,
They came in and they left as soon as they got here
right.
because she. I mean, it was amazing to see how. I mean, these big pit bulls. It was
Hmm.
amazing to see how afraid they were of her.
Them
So
packing. Yeah.
I wish we would have got a livestock guardian dog a long time ago because she
Yeah.
has just been amazing. But yeah, she ran them off, and I mean, she wanted to tear them to shreds. And so it's nice to know that anytime a dog comes around here that's not supposed to be here, that maybe wants to kill a chicken or a duck or aggravate the sheep, that she's going to be there to run them off. So
Right.
um,
Right.
and I
That's
mean, a
great.
Chihuahua even has value in the sense. I mean, they're excellent watchdogs. If anybody sets foot on the porch, I'm sure that she's barking.
Lord, there's a dog next door. I should say next door. Their property's probably, you know, 60, 70 yards away from our house. And she's just a single woman and she's got a dog and she takes the dog out to go to the bathroom. It's basically a house dog, but it's a big dog. And Lord, that dog comes out and this one just goes and just runs over there through the barbed wire fence up into her yard, barking at him, and I'm like, oh my God. will you stop? The dog's just trying to go to the bathroom, and you're just all sorts of hell. And then the other one follows him over there, and I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I do have a shock collar, and they work. It's just a hassle putting it on them, and I
Yeah.
don't know which one to put it on them first because then they. but it works, and I don't ever shock them. It just makes a sound and they come back. It's kind of
Yeah.
they're really great training devices, but you've got to be consistent, and I
Yep.
haven't. So that's my fault, you know. But anyway, one of the things you were saying about regulation in other countries outside of the EU, and I don't know if you've ever seen. It's on Netflix or Amazon. I don't know. You probably don't watch a lot of TV, but it's called Clarkson's Farm. Jeremy Clarkson is a celebrity in England.
Hmm.
He started, and I mean, he's lived in London. He's been on TV. He's a rich guy, and he bought a farm in England and wanted to start farming. And it's comical to see him do that. But the amount of regulation he is up against is it makes the United States look like
Yeah.
a free for all. I mean, they you can't do anything. You can't move dirt from one side of your farm to another unless there's like an environmental impact study. It's like, well, you're disturbing the ground, and we need to make sure that that's not a habitat for any sort of animal. And I mean, these little voles or whatever, woodland creatures, and they said, no, you got to stop immediately, because it's a protected habitat. It's like, it's my land. I should be able to do it whenever I want to. It's like, nope, you can't. You get literally put you
It,
in jail for stuff like that. But but when it comes to raising cattle, um, the best place that does it outside of the United States, well, I guess it's better than the United States, is in South America, and Argentina is probably one of the best places. That in Australia, that's where most of the grass-fed beef comes from, because they don't use American grass-fed beef because, well, it's cheaper, and whatever. I won't go into the politics of all of that, but they do a really
yep.
great job down in Argentina. I mean, those are, that's kind of the original cattle country down there, and they do a really great job. Grass fed. They totally different approach from the American model, which is really nice to see. And
Yeah.
because, and I don't want to get off too much on cattle farming, but the thing with grass-fed beef, especially somebody that does it like me on a small scale, you only have beef at a certain time of year when your cattle are ready. But in Argentina, where they have to supply the industry year round, they have to be really good about planning their forage and planting and making sure that they have the quality they need year round, regardless of whether it's winter or summer. So they're very intentional about the way they do things, because they don't feed grain to their animals down there, which is amazing. So, um, but yeah. And then another thing uh, I learned, and this is all. That didn't mean this to be the cattle show. Is in France, they actually prefer grass-fed beef, and they prefer older animals. Like,
Hmm.
oh, you give me a 5 or 6 year old animal, and they salivate over how good the meat is on that. It's like, you won't find anybody in the United States doing that, because it costs money to feed a cow year round, and you're not going to get your
Hmm.
money out of it, especially if you're feeding grain. I mean, you go broke. So
Yep.
it's interesting how tastes and methods and models are different in each country, and
Hmm.
we can learn from everybody. And that's not just cows. That can be chickens, that can be ducks, that can be pollarding trees, that can be gardening, whatever it might be. Because as Americans, we kind of have this very, you know, uh, parochial view of the world, that we do it the best, and well, our taste buds are attuned to the way our food is raised. So,
Hmm.
that's and that's what people will supply and raise it that way. But somebody that's concerned about the environment and the land, there's a lot to learn from other countries. Number one, they've been doing a lot longer than we have. So
Yep.
awesome, and that's great to hear in Norway. That somebody's able to make a go of it with 36 cows. And because
Yeah.
I think in the if you think farms have been decimated in the past 20, 30 years, the dairy business, like in Wisconsin and Minnesota and that area, which is known for cheese and milk products, it's just like they're going out of business faster than they could, even I mean, thousands and thousands of dairies every year are going out of business because it's just regulated and you have to be so big to be profitable that it just
Hmm.
doesn't. People that have like Elias is like people that have had generation after generation, they're big dairymen, and they finally have to just we can't do it anymore. We just can't afford to. It's just there's no money in it, you know. So and it doesn't help. Hope there's not too many Canadians here, but our dairy products are heavily tariffed when they go to Canada.
Hmm.
They won't open their markets to our products, so that kind of limits where they can sell their products. So anyway, it's a tough go, so people that are doing it right, in your audience, you should support them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, it's crazy to see just where things are going. And you were mentioning the UK, and Elias commented on that too. He says they try to regulate farmers a lot everywhere now, everywhere in Europe too,
Yeah.
sadly. And he
Mhm.
said UK is crazy though. They have to register their chickens too now.
Yes, yes,
And
yeah,
that they're trying to do that here. They're trying their
yes,
hardest. Normally, if you look at UK, I think it's probably like the worst. You need your you're out, you got your butter knife out spreading your butter on toast, and then the police kick down the door and they're like, "Where's your permit for that butter knife?" And UK though, even though they seem crazy to us right now, we're normally only about 10, 20 years behind them
oh, yeah,
in the
it's
US. I mean,
they'll
they want to move us as close as they can to UK. I think that's how the UK, the British Empire may have died, but it's still alive in regulation. They're still trying to
right,
regulate the world,
right,
and
right,
it's really sad that there's a lot of people, because I mean that dairy farm that Elias is talking about that has 36 cows, I guarantee you that milk is to die for. That
oh,
guy
sure,
probably is on a I mean, he's
sure,
on a farm that probably still has pollarded and coppice trees
hmm,
that might
hmm,
have been done by Vikings. I mean, that
right,
is unbelievable to think about how ancient that land is. And I mean, it just must be. I mean, can you imagine, like, on a nice, crisp morning, just drinking, a huge glass of raw milk from one of those cows?
right,
I mean, that has to, and we've lost that culturally, because here in America, like you said, we do everything more industrially now. But when America was first formed, we did everything the old ways, because it was a melting pot of people coming from different countries. Um, bringing their cultures and their knowledge. And that's why America boomed so much. And that's
right,
how our government got so powerful. And we got to the situation we're in now, is
right,
because of all that. But, originally we were doing things the way that the French did and the Norwegians did and the Italians did.
right,
We had all and the way the old English farmers did. We had all that knowledge. There were hedgerows here, just like in Great Britain, and places like France and stuff. But now it's just like everything has to be industrialized, or it's not any good. We just don't want it. It just
right,
if you're not cranking out 42 million a day, then you don't even need to be doing it.
right. And there is, while I'm very critical of the industrial food system, but it was for the people that were in charge when they started down that road. um they were worried that how are we going to feed a country of 200 million people, because prior to grocery stores and supermarkets, which I'm talking probably after World War II, those things
Mhm.
became extremely they became possible and they became common. I mean, people bought their food, and the food that they consumed to a large part was grown and raised within maybe 40 or 50 miles from where they lived. So there wasn't this need for industrial agriculture because there wasn't a distribution network to distribute food over thousands of miles, because people had gardens. Why? Because they didn't have a grocery store to go to. That's how they got food, you know? And they had a local guy who raised cows that they bought their meat from, and they bought chicken, or they probably had a couple chickens for eggs and meat, I mean, that was so those techniques were brought over when they immigrated here, how many, 100, 200 years ago, and they maintain those. And then, you know all of a sudden, after World War II, the whole world changed. And, well, why should I have to go to three different people to get food when I can go to the supermarket and get
Mhm.
everything I want?
Yep.
So while I'm critical of it, I understand what they were trying to do, but they obviously went way overboard, because it really wasn't supplying food. It was becoming more profitable for
Mhm.
not not the farmer, but the fertilizer guy, the guy that ran the silos and the grain
The cardboard
elevator.
manufacturer, don't forget him.
Yes, it's all of those businesses along the line that make that food are all taking a cut,
Mhm.
and the farmer's the one that makes the least amount of money, even today, you know? So this industrial food system did not help farmers. It's making consumers sick, but it's making a lot of money for the people between the farmer and the consumer, right? Everybody's got their hand out all the way along the line, and
Yep.
that's a modern economy we're talking about. So that's not going to necessarily change, but at least we have an understanding of how we got where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and it makes it extremely hard because people like you and people like me, we're trying to move in the opposite direction.
Right.
And it's we're really and truly, even though we're not, big names like Greg Judy or Joel
Hmm.
Salatin. You're raising some cattle. Your operation is bigger than mine. Mine's even smaller. I've got tiny livestock, and I've got some medium sized now, but um, we're just little guys, but we're trying to get this back to pre, Civil War type of farming,
Hmm.
and we're trailblazers. So I mean, the road ahead's not going to be easy on getting this stuff done. And I know we plan on talking with Greg a lot more about this. I don't want to just get too deep in on the subject of parallel economies and stuff, but
Hmm.
uh, I noticed that Elias here made another comment, and man, thanks for hanging out all the way from Norway. If
Yeah.
out of the 64 people that came
Got to
through
be
the
late at
live,
night.
if
I
all
got to
we
be
got
late.
was you as a subscriber, and you get to join us on Sunday nights here anyway, that's great. He says, I find it amazing that we're smart, John, and critical farmers like you guys exist. I think you should have more views. Me too. We should have more
Yeah.
views.
Well,
He
spread
says
the
he's
word.
drinking. Yeah, spread the word. He says he's drinking that milk right now, so he's gonna rub it in. He
Yep.
says, yeah, it's amazing that that milk. He says, and Vikings have been living on my island for a very long time. He says that he trades 12 eggs with him. He's referring to the farmer for 4 liters of milk. He said it works out quite well for both of us. We will be slaughtering a half or a calf together for beef this fall, and that's what we're looking to start getting more. Which I do some of that stuff with people, trading livestock and meat and labor and stuff. That's what we're looking to get into more and building those almost like Amish communities of where people can trade and barter and where dollars turn over more in the community.
Right.
And trading that's the thing though, is I think that a lot of people, and I don't know about from your experience, John, and I'll try to just end it on this, that way we can actually talk about this with Greg next week, because I know this is going to be a big broad topic. We're already at an hour, but a lot of people, I feel like the majority of people that are wanting to start these parallel economies, and they're like, oh, we're going to barter and trade, man, and everything. That every single person is like, okay, well, what are you going to do? It's like, man, I'm going to sell comfrey salve and eggs. And it's like, but we need some more stuff. Like, we've got to get more products, more trade. You can while comfrey salve and eggs are amazing things. I know that when we've been out of eggs here as far as farm fresh, there was a place we were buying them. And every time I go into that little corner store, I would literally buy every dozen egg that they had there, every carton. She knew when I walked in that her cooler was about to be empty because I would buy them all.
Right.
And they're an excellent milk is an excellent barter item. That's something, in our communities we're gonna have to start forming, is these trade networks to where it's not um just comfrey salve and eggs.
Right.
But and a lot of trades too, because I don't think that people realize just how valuable it is to have individuals that know how to do things in your communities, and how beneficial, especially as homesteaders, trading labor can be. I mean, I'd
Right.
like to find a really good electrician. I'm very skilled at carpentry and some other things, but electrical work, I don't hire me. I'll burn your house down. Um, I need to find somebody like that, and I think it's going to be extremely essential moving forward, trying to build these parallel economies to try to bring in people's trades and their skills. Because starting out, homesteading and farming, yeah, we've got you as a cattle guy. I raise some small livestock, and we'll have eggs. I'll have some pork and lamb and stuff like that. But uh, we're trying to build an economy. There's a whole lot that goes into an economy.
Right.
It can't be just three or four things.
Yeah, but you think of people, and I like where you're going with that, but you say somebody who um, does garden and does a large scale garden and does a
Hmm.
lot of a lot of processing, and canning. I mean, I'd pay a lot to get the shelves in my pantry full of canned vegetables and tomato sauce and whatnot, because that's something I mean, there's only me and my significant other that live here.
Hmm.
So it's not like we have a huge food need. So it's like to go out and plant 10 or 15 tomato plants and harvest them and process them,
Yep.
it's just not that efficient, for me. But somebody who's been doing this and maybe has a large family, and it's like, well, when we get together and it's a family event and it takes all day or maybe the whole weekend, or we do it every weekend during
Yep.
tomato season because and then you put up you know 100 jars of tomato sauce or tomatoes, and it's like that's something you can barter with. As it's like me, I've got a whole freezer full of beef, and it's like here's 5 pounds of grass fed ground beef. What can you trade me for? And it's
Hmm.
interesting. I know we didn't want to go into this too far, but the way we look at barter is trading. It's trading. It's not a regulated economy where I can go to the store and buy eggs for $3 a dozen. It's what do I need and what do they have? It's
Yep.
not it's not an organized economy. It is economy of convenience. And so value takes on a completely different idea, because in a free market economy, when I'm trading with you, whatever I trade you and you trade me, we both, at the end of the transaction, think we got a good deal.
Mhm.
You know, so you can't be taken advantage of, because I freely decide to trade this for that, and I'm thinking in my own mind, maybe not to you, maybe not to the guy next to me. Well, that's there's no value in that. Why are you doing that? You should be getting more for your products. But it's what I want. I
Mhm.
find value in. It's a very
Yep.
barter is a very individual thing. You can't go, well, I just traded 5 pounds of beef with another guy a month ago, and he only gave me this. It's like, well, you make that decision. Nobody
Yep.
makes that decision. The store doesn't make the decision. The government doesn't regulate the decision. You make that on an individual one-to-one basis, which is great. It's essentially that's the best way, but it takes some work. Takes a lot of work,
Yep.
actually. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But anyway, yeah. So I won't talk about that anymore.
Speaking of the subject, though, I do need
Yes.
to get up with. I just remembered that the one I think I mentioned her maybe on a live stream. The one that the lady that does all the canning that we talked
Uh huh.
about.
Uh huh.
So I just remembered that she wanted some work done. And, I've got my handyman business and everything, and she needed a camper pressure washed, and she wanted like this rug that goes up there pressure washed, and other stuff. And I just done some work for somebody she knew that was actually a referral from her, and she said, "Well, how much would you charge me to do this stuff?" I said, "I'm sure we can work out a barter deal because
Yes.
I get baby ducks from her all the time."
Uh huh.
And um, I was just thinking about that, and I thought, oh, because she wants me and my wife to learn how to can, and I do think that's a valuable skill. We need to
Sure it is.
get into that. But at the same time, like you said, it's like, ooh, yeah, like let me know how to do it for just in case for an emergency. But I had rather just bring all this stuff to you and you can it and you take your portion and then give me the rest
Right.
or whatever it is. They've got a lot of work to do, and I just thought of if I could find me a good gardening person
Right.
and get like some ground beef from you and some other meat products and stuff from other people. I mean, this lady she can can Skittles. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, she can can it.
Right.
And I don't guess canning Skittles would really be that hard. They
Hmm.
probably last forever anyway,
Right.
with all the chemicals they got in them. But uh, she would be a really good one that I could work with doing work for, then bring all the stuff in, and that gets a huge market of being able to trade some different, you know, products to different people that are shelf stable. Because that's one of the
Right.
things that's hard is like if you have something that's fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, that's more of a seasonal thing if you're doing it as a homesteader.
Yes.
But if you've got somebody who cans, oh, the game just changed. There's somebody that freeze dries. Well, Lee and Deanna, the gals from the Freedom Cell Central Freedom Cell group, the ones I do the mushrooms with, they've got a
Uh-huh.
freeze dryer,
Oh,
and
wow.
so they do freeze drying. And yeah, I feel like especially with Greg coming back from the Self Reliance Festival next week, we may need to see if he's okay with a 2 hour chat. Because it might be a long one. But
Right.
yeah, we're at an hour 15, man. I'm gonna have to go. I got a busy day tomorrow. But I
No
appreciate
problem.
you jumping on, John. You want to tell everybody just kind of about you and where they can find you if somebody watches this after we're down to, I think, just Elias right now on the channel.
Yeah, no problem. You can find me here on Sunday night, basically. As I say every week, I'm working on my social media presence, and I'm working towards that. Haven't made much progress, but But yeah, my name of my company is DJ Cattle Company here in Tennessee. But yeah, uh, this is I'm getting close to retirement, and this is my passion. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life, is to make sure, to some extent, these skills don't go out of use. Whether we have a national or global impact is secondary. It's as long as those skills don't disappear, and as long as these approaches to taking care of the environment and our land and feeding healthy food to people still exists, even if it's on an artisanal level, then that's okay with me, as long as it survives and we can continue on. So that's me.
Mm. Well, I'm Logan Hyde from Hydeaway Homestead here on YouTube. Super easy to find me. If you ever want to email me about anything too, you can email me at homestead at gmail.com, and it's spelled HYDE. Um, so yeah, appreciate everybody that was in the live chat, and Elias, thanks for hanging out till the end, man. Thanks for the likes and subscribes, everybody. Appreciate you being here, John, and we'll see y'all next week.
Be back. Thanks, guys.
Bye.